Hey guys and gals, Otto here. Today we are going to talk about IAE 2950 and a couple ships. But before we kick that off, let's give this beautiful skin the recognition it deserves. Here we have the Mercury Star Runner with a black and gold paint theme here. I think it looks pretty sweet. I think they did a fantastic job on the Mercury Star Runner. I didn't put a video out on it because there was a lot of videos already out there floating around on it. A lot of people did coverage on it, and they did a fantastic job. Hidden tunnels, in it for incognito storage. 1287 top speed. Maneuverable, agile for its size. 2 size 3s on top on this turret. 2 size 3s on the front nose for the captain, for the pilot. And another turret like this on the bottom side for a total of 6 size 3s. So not too bad for a data runner. Ample cargo. It's really a fantastic looking ship. The only thing it's lacking is escape pods. They didn't give it escape pods, but I don't really think that's a real big deal. I think overall, though, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think they did a fantastic job. It's probably in my opinion, one of the best all-around ships in the game right now as far as covering all of its bases well. I know there are some situations that could arise where its lack of an escape pod could be problematic. Who knows? Maybe they'll change something or implement one or turn this dish right here on top into a escape pod. I don't know. But if not, it's still a fantastic ship. You just better get out of it before it explodes, which is pretty awkward. It's not a starfighter where you can just punch out. I don't think it has an ejection seat in the front end for this ship, so it is kind of odd. It doesn't have, escape pods. It's not a Drake. You kind of got to ask yourself, why wasn't it given that? It's kind of strange, but overall, I think it was a fantastic, and this is a beautiful skin. So I definitely expect to see a lot of these in the verse. It's an absolutely fantastic ship. So, okay, now we're going to jump into the Nomad. This is a leaked photo of the Nomad, and it is kind of boxy. It reminds me of an arrow that had its wings chopped off and its nose lopped off, and then it was like hooked to a air compressor and blown up like a balloon. It's kind of all swollen up here in the middle, but I believe that's so that it could have a lot of room inside. I think it's going to be a very spacious starter ship, and potentially, we'll see what they do with weapons. But I think it may potentially rival the Cutlass Black. Maybe. We don't really know. We don't know how big it is. I just see a starter ship that looks like it has a fair amount of room in it. And that should be pretty exciting for a lot of people, because when you first start playing Star Citizen, you'll find that you need room for cargo, and you need room for your personal belongings, armors and weapons, and you need room for miscellaneous crate boxes for delivery, and you just find that you need all this different stuff when you first start, and you don't have all those ships. And so this ship, if the firepower is decent for what it is, and they did call it a premium starter ship, so we'll see. I mean, if she comes out with, I don't know, at least maybe quad 2s, or maybe even 3s, it would be adequate for this ballooned up starter ship. I think. Here's the back, It definitely looks like it's got a loading area of some sort, maybe back here. Maybe. I mean, this is early on. We'll see what they do with it, but it's got potential, definitely. And when I first seen it, I was like, man, that kind of looks like Elite Dangerous, some of their ships. And then I thought, man, it's so swole up. I wonder how much cargo it's going to have compared to the Cutlass Black, because maybe it could be a rival for that one. But we'll see. We'll see. They called it a premium starter ship. So we'll see. And that is the Nomad. All right, now we're going to jump into the Perseus. This ship is it's going to be a lot of fun. I guess things to notice first off is we'll take a look at this right here. Just we don't know if this scale is spot on or not. We've heard kind of hammerhead Polaris size. This they have a little bit smaller, but if this is on scale, then we can already see it's a large ship, and that's what we're focusing on for this video. Is that we're making the assumption that it is a large ship, and we're going to run with that. And so what we know about large ships right from the get-go is it's probably going to have 2 large shields. And large shields, pretty much we all know, are like paper thin when you are competing with large ships and capitals. Large shields are paper thin. They drop literally in seconds. They're almost non-existent. They do put up a bigger challenge for medium and starfighters type ships, but that's not really what these kinds of ships are going up against, are they? This and the Polaris and other bigger hammerheads, they're going up against a lot of ships, and a lot of them are large and capital. And so to that scale of ship, pushing aside the mediums and smalls right now, large shields are paper thin. They're gone like extremely fast, seconds. A few seconds, poof, your shields are down, which means you're ripping right into the armor. And something to consider, this ship versus like the Hammerhead, I expect them to be on par as far as armor and shield health and stuff like that, give or take. But something to notice about this ship is it does look like it's a Corvette type. It looks to me like a large size brawler ship. It does have 1 large turret on it at this time, and all this is subject to change, but they do look like they have 1 large turret here. Not large, but I don't know what size it is. It's probably a 4 or 5, I'm guessing. Probably size 4 or 5 here on top. And then they have this clearly large caliber dual barrel gun here that is probably size, I'm guessing size 7-ish. 7, 8 maybe, somewhere in that range. And then but notice I don't see anything else here. I don't see any other turrets. And I've seen some other photos out there floating around. I don't see any other turrets on those either. And so you've got this single one in the back, and you've got the big guy here in the front. And then we got here at the bottom. Same setup. We got this little guy here in the back, probably a 4 or 5, and we got this one here, which is probably a 6, 7, 8 underneath. And so clearly these are big guns meant for big game. That's not really hard to understand on this ship. Medium ships like the Freelancers and the Banu Defender and the Mercury Star Runner, Vanguards, Redeemer, etc. Ships like those, they're going to get obliterated by these guns, I firmly believe. They don't want to be hit by them, but those are not the primary focus for these guns. I believe these guns here, the bottom one and the top one, are for large and capital ships. And so this ship here is like a lot of ships, and I do mean that, a lot of ships. It can pack hunt. You get these guys together, enough of them together, and you're going to be able to bring down pretty much any other ship. The big question for this ship here is going to be, how does it maneuver for its size, and how fast is it? What's its top speed? Is it going to be able to chase things down or not? I've heard one person say, I had a discussion with someone yesterday about this ship and the Polaris, and I said, well, you got to remember the Polaris was made for attack runs and for patrolling. And remember, RSI made both of these ships, right? And so they're trying to fill holes. And while the Polaris comes with... actually, I'll just go to this. While the Polaris comes with quad size 10s, and I think like 6 size 4 or 5 guns that can all face forward, right? And a slew of missiles on the top and bottom, right? It's also a capital ship. It's not large. And that's an important distinguishment to separate them, because while it does have large shields, which is the same as probably this Perseus and the Hammerhead and the Carrack and the Caterpillar, right? We've gotten used to how the large shields respond to things. This is a capital ship, and as a capital ship, it has capital light armor. I expect light capital armor to be significant, because if you notice, when we jumped from shields from large to capital, there was a massive gap, just absolutely huge gap, and I expect similar when we jump from armor. Large armor to capital grade, even light armor, because right now the Polaris has to be a plausible ship, and they've proven that it is through its history. Its history alone proves this thing was effective, right? That means it has to be designed to be able to fulfill that effectiveness. And because we believe that the large shields are going to be getting dropped relatively quick because they are so weak when you're going up against bigger ships, what's left to keep it alive? What's left to make it effective so that it's not getting obliterated out there? That's right. What's left is that light capital armor. And so what you got to remember with this ship here is that it's expensive to run, because these torpedoes coming out of it, they cost you money every time you shoot them, right? This is an economical decision you're making when you fire these puppies off. And every time your armor gets bitten into, you're going to have to repair that. And so don't expect those shields to hold you off long, okay? And literally seconds, according to the prey or the number of people that are on you. And so the Polaris is going to have to maintain its speed in order to stay alive, even against medium ships that may particularly pounce on it, like the Ion and the Inferno, right, and the Hurricane, and even starfighters. If the Polaris cannot stay moving and stay fast and stay ahead of its competition, it's going to be dead. And so I believe in order for all of this to reasonably and logically make sense, the armor on the Polaris has to be very strong for light capital armor to keep it alive, and it has to be fast enough to stay away from other things from chasing it down and taking it out. And so I believe that's what it's coming with. And when you think about that way, and then you bring in this Perseus, do I think the Perseus can take out ships like the Polaris and the 890 Jump and the Starfarers and the Carracks and the Idrises and the Krakens? And absolutely. These two big guns were put on there for a reason, right? Now, when you team up these Perseuses with the Ions and the Infernos and stuff with those high caliber guns, they're going to be punching into and penetrating shields and armor, even all the way up to capital class, because that's what these things are made for, okay? But what I see when I look at the Perseus, I see a ship that does not have much protection in the way of anti-torpedo, anti-missiles. Even starfighters are going to be a problem for this thing. And I say that because, the Hammerhead's loaded full, right, to take down starfighters. But notice this is not. One here, big guy in the front, one small guy here in the back, and then another big guy in the bottom center. And so this thing is out there for big guns to take down big targets, but it's going to need protection. Okay, it's going to need protection from those swarms. All those starfighters out there running around, and you better believe 3, 4, or more size 3 guns biting into large shields. Those shields are gone very fast. You get 3, 4, 5, 6 or more, and I definitely or more is a huge. It's going to happen. It's going to happen more than people realize. These ships are going to get swarmed by starfighters. It's going to be like watching Star Wars, where all those TIE fighters come flying out of a Death Destroyer, one of the capital ships, or all the Rebel size, all their starfighters come out of their Corvettes and stuff and their carriers, and you get like 20, 30, 40 of them swarming out there. Well, guess what? The shields on these ships, they don't last very long right now. As far as I can tell, the shields currently in Star Citizen on a large ship drop faster than the shields did in Star Wars against the same opponents. So I think they're still going to have to fix the large shields. I think the large shields are considerably weaker than they need to be. I think they need to provide a considerably more challenge. Because right now, well, let's see, I've blown up a Caterpillar by myself in a Super Hornet. That's one Super Hornet against one Caterpillar with dual large shields. And I think it even has a couple other small ones. But the point is if a single starfighter can take down a large shield, right, with the overclocking when that came in, man, these ships are in trouble. And so I don't see a ship here that is built like the Hammerhead. Okay, I see a ship that needs protection from swarm starfighters, needs protection from medium ships like the Vanguards, the Hurricanes, the Ions, the Infernos. Okay, this guy, while it's bringing big guns, I just see this huge hole in its defense. And that's not counting all the missiles that can get shot at this thing and the torpedoes, right? God forbid you should happen to miss a couple torpedoes in those swarm of starfighters and medium ships and all the missiles, because those torpedoes hit, this thing's not lasting long. And we know that because, one, it's large, and two, it has large shields. And those do not last long, even against starfighters. That's not even talking about medium or large or capital ships. And so this guy is unlikely to have, it's not going to have capital armor, not even light capital armor. It's going to have large grade armor. And even if it has medium to heavy large armor, which it might, that may be its only saving grace for a short period of time. And I do mean short, because I expect the Eclipses to have a field day with these guys. The Tallies, the Retaliators, the Harbingers, right? The bombers that are out there. Definitely Polaris. If Polaris bites into this thing with a quad volley, it's probably GG. Even with those guns going off. And I wouldn't approach this, though, from the side. Because from the side, you're going to be, or the front, right? Or, well, yeah, probably just the front. Because both of these big guy guns are going to be able to bite into you. From the side, they're likely to be able to turn and bite into you. Not so much from behind, because this front one is not going to be able to spin 360, 180 degrees, to the rear and fire behind it, because it wasn't put on top, right? It wasn't put on the tip top to be able to swing 360. It was put down in the front. And so this thing was meant to front fire and off to its sides. And so I would watch how you approach it, but while it does look like fun, I see it has a significant hole in its defense that, if not covered, if not protected, this thing will get eaten alive. I firmly believe that. And if you can't eat this alive, you're doing it wrong. I see medium ships, and I see a group of starfighters just chewing through this guy. So it's the only thing that protected the Hammerhead is it has all those quad guns on it, which are amazing. But this guy needs to hug close to the Hammerhead. It's going to help protect the Hammerhead from some of the bigger targets that hit really hard. Because while the Hammerhead is going to be shooting down torpedoes, and it's a screen ship for a fleet and area defense, and it's going to be shooting down starfighters, this guy brings the big game guns for the big targets, but it's going to need its protection. So RSI made these to cover its bases, while the Polaris does bring quad torpedoes, and the Polaris was made for attack runs on big targets, okay? Capital targets. And so this guy here fills a role with torpedoes are expensive, and when you fire them, you only have so many. You've only got 7 volleys. As far as we know, if everything is correct still on the Polaris, you've only got 7 volleys of 4. And that's that can go pretty fast in a decent sized fight. But this guy here, he brings guns that can just keep firing and firing and firing. You just got to keep him alive and keep the swarms off of him, right? And keep the torpedoes and stuff off of him. And so while I see this Perseus it's a pretty interesting ship, I was surprised to see it didn't have a bit more defense, because maybe they probably did that on purpose. Thinking, well, we're going to give it the big guns so it can take out the bigger targets, and it's absolutely going to need defense from the smaller swarms. And it's going to have to be careful and not get cocky. Don't go out there thinking you're going to be like one man in everything because you got a couple big guns on you. There are definitely targets out there that are going to smoke you, even though you have big guns, because you do have a significant hole in your defenses. And that's that you can be swarmed, and that you have large shields. They'll be gone quick, and then your armor will keep you alive for a little bit, but then it's going to be gone. And so I think it's a great ship for filling the role of bringing the big guns to the fight. But I do see it has significant weakness. And so take that into account when you're considering it. I think it'll be a great addition to every fleet. I do not see it as a ship you're going to be running by yourself. As far as like out there running around, taking stuff out and whatnot. Because while it's a great ship against a lot of ships, specifically those of large to medium to small caliber, but if you get a swarm on you, 4, 5, 6 of something, even of a medium to small category, you could be obliterated. It's the same thing goes for a hammerhead that's running without crew. It's a sit and duck. It can be swarmed and obliterated by those smaller squads too. Okay, what else got? Okay, let's watch this.
Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2950. Whitley's Guide and me, Jax McCleary, are here to take you through it all. We're here on Microtech, going...
I love this shot right here. I love this shot because, to me, for some reason, it made IAE 2950 cooler because it looks like it's outside. And I'm hoping that they stick with this. This is on Microtech, for those that didn't catch that in the video. IAE 2950 is on Microtech. It starts tomorrow, okay? And day 8 is for RSI. Tomorrow is, let's see, let's take a peek here. Tomorrow is Argo, Grey Cat, and Consolidated Outland. So tomorrow we will see the Nomad. We will be able to get first hand with that, I believe. At least I hope. I hope we're seeing it. And you can see down through the rest of the days here, right? And you can see here the website, robertspaceindustries.com, IAE 2950. And then here we see day 8 is RSI, so we can get to see hopefully the Perseus, some more info or something on it then. And then best of show. So I love this picture here because, first off, I really like Microtech. I think they did a fantastic job on Microtech. But I love that all these landing bays out here and the people out there all over the place and the banners are all up. And this, to me, is more impressive than the inside one. For some reason, I just like the outside venue, maybe because of the pandemic and we've all been indoors for so long, and kind of limiting what we've been doing. And so to get out and get some fresh, cool air out here in Microtech is pretty cool. 4 F8 Lightnings. They're amazing looking ships. Fantastic looking ships. I can't wait. I heard there's a Black Widow or something from, was it Aegis or Origin, or I don't know, some other manufacturer I heard has got another one that's coming out that kind of rivals the F8. I can't wait to see that. That should be pretty awesome. But these are still fantastic ships. Here we have a Hurricane and the Carrack. The Carracks are still so amazing to me. The Valkyries sitting right here. People all over the place checking all these out. This just looks like an amazing time to me. Over here we have the Turtle. I literally forgot what it's called. It's just got a turtle shell. Oh, and the Super Hornet. So this to me is just a fantastic aerial shot they took here. I think it's gorgeous. Can't wait to go check it out. I got to remind myself. It's like, okay, it's tomorrow. I can go look at this tomorrow. But yeah, guys, that's on Microtech. So go check that out. Starts tomorrow.
Behind the scenes,
watch the rest of this.
Under the hood, and deep undercover, to bring you the galaxy's hottest ships from its coolest locale.
Here's the F8.
See if you can keep up.
See if you can keep up. He's so snarky, right? Jack, he's so funny. I like watching Jack and Whitley's guides. They've done a great job on those. There it is, guys. All right, and that's all I wanted to share. That I think the Perseus is really going to be a fantastic ship for what it's doing, but it definitely has its weaknesses. And then we're going to have to close up those weaknesses when it's working together with a group. It was given those big guns for a reason, You bring the elephant guns for the elephants, right? The big guns for the big game. And so that's what those were put on there for. It's just going to have to get some protection from a lot of the other smaller stuff. And I have a ridiculous amount of experience with these, with strategizing and logistics and putting together, understanding various ships and players' weaknesses and hitting those weaknesses. And And so part of what I do with search and rescue and medical for synchronizers is threat assessment. I have to understand what these things can do because my boys got to go out there and save lives, and they got to understand what the threats are. And so I've already been assessing these ships out. And so the Nomad looks like it's, just to wrap it up, looks like it's going to... I'm really looking to see how it compares to the Cutlass Black. I really am. Because the Cutlass Black has been such a great ship for so long. Even after it had its maneuverability nerfed a bit, it's still a fantastic ship. And so I'm really curious to see where this thing sits with it. And the price point of the Cutlass Black is still amazing. An awesome job, Sig, on the MSR. Beautiful ship. Great work. I don't know what people are going to do when they need to escape it. There's no escape pod. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but the rest of the ship is fantastic. It's a gorgeous ship, tons of room, data running, great speed, great weaponry for what it is. Just 4.5 out of 5. Hoorah. All right. Like, subscribe, share, comment, keep it civil, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.